Hello students, this is Lab4 for CIS279W7, capturing a reference image. What we're going to do this evening is go ahead and install the image and go through the majority of the lab, remembering that we're doing this in our virtual environment. We also want to make sure, I want to remind you that before you start up your machines, you want to make sure that you have configured the undo disks by checking this box here. Because I've started up the machine, I can't make this change. Remember, we're going to completely, for lack of a better word, hose this machine, and we want to make sure that we can undo our changes that we do during this lab to bring this client back to a Windows 7 Pro machine that is already configured and set up and attached to the domain. So as you can see, I've already logged into NYCCLA using the Contoso administrator account and the special password. I've clicked the Start button and I've typed in RWDC, whack downloads, whack Win7AIK, whack start CD. Here it is. This is going to start the installation of the Windows Automated Installation Kit onto my client machine. So as you can see, here's the installation kit. It's ready to go, and we'll continue with the install. So all we have to do is come over here. We want to install the Windows AIK setup. It's going to prepare the installation for us. While it's doing that, I'm going to hit the pause button right now. Once it's done installing, the Welcome to the Windows Automated Installation Kit Setup wizard comes up. We're going to choose Next. We're going to accept the license agreement after we read it and choose Next. We're going to go ahead and allow it to install in the default path that it wants to install, and it's okay if we do this for everyone on this machine. We'll say Next. The installer is ready to install Windows Automated Installation Kit on the computer, so we again will hit Next, and again I will pause it while it completes the installation. This can be anywhere from a 3 to 5 minute process depending on the speed and processor and memory that you've assigned to the virtual machine. So once the installation is complete, it brings up the installation complete screen. We can click Close. We can go ahead and close the installation kit. At this point, we're not required to do a restart. We can just go right in, and we are trying to find the Windows System Image Manager, which happens to be right here. So we'll bring that up. It does take a second to bring this up, but once it's up, we can continue. We're going to go into Tools. We are going to create a distribution share. We're going to give it a path, in this case on the local computer, C:\share. So there's our share right there. We're going to come up and click File and select Windows Image. From here, we are going to pick an image that is out at the server. So as you can see, the image that I want is out at RWDC01/downloads /Win7 Pro. Your book says Win7 ENT for Enterprise. We're going to do a Pro. It's under Sources and Install, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And now here's my options for the images that I have out there. I'm going to pick Professional and say OK. And it is going to load the install.wim files to the Windows System Image Manager. Once it does that, we're going to see that our Windows 7 Professional image is available to us. We're going to come up and click File, and we're going to create a new answer file. So as you can see, here's my untitled answer file that I'm going to create. I'm going to go in and grab some components here. This is where we want to go in and find the x86 Windows setup, which is right there. Okay, and we're going to proceed with the x86 Microsoft-Windows setup file right here. From here, we are going to expand the disk configuration and disk, and there's create partition. We're going to expand that, and we have create partitions. We are going to right click on the create partition and add that setting to pass one of the Windows PE file. So as you can see here, it's been added. We're not only going to create the partition, but we're going to expand the modify partitions to modify partitions. We're again going to right click and we're going to add those settings as well, as you can see here, to our answer file. In the answer file, we are going to come over here and select disk. Here's the properties for the disk. And in the disk properties pane under settings, we're going to select each of the following settings in turn and configure it with the value provided. So what they want us to do is come into disk ID. There's the label. It's highlighted, and I can put in disk ID is going to be 0. And will wipe disk is going to be true. So we're going to go ahead and wipe the disk. Now in the answer file pane, we're going to select create partition. And in the properties of the create partition section, we're going to go to extend and we're going to choose true. Order is going to be 1, so we've got to type that in. And type is going to be primary. Now in the answer file pane, we're going to go modify partition. And we've got a bunch of settings to set here. Active, it will be the active partition, so we're going to say true. We're going to format it with nothing else but NTFS. We are going to give it a label. Now this we've got to manually type in. We're going to give it the Windows label. Of course the letter, because this is going to be the operating system partition, so we want to select C. The order is going to be 1, and the partition ID will also be 1. At this point, we're going to come over and select Tools, and we're going to validate the answer file. It's going to check and make sure that all of our configurations are correct. This tends to happen pretty quick, as you can see. Boom, there it was, and there must not have been a problem because we didn't get a warning box that stayed up. So we can continue on. Now in the steps it says to take a screenshot of the Windows System Image Manager. So right now if you wanted to, you could take a screenshot of this to put into your answer file for the lab. So I'll give you a second to do that. So at this point we're going to go ahead and click Tools, Create Configuration Set. The Configuration Set dialog box appears, and we want to type in where it is that we want the set to go. Remember, this share we created was at C:\share, and we are going to call it config set, and we're going to say OK. The folder does not exist. Do we want to create it? Yes, we do want to create it. Message box appears saying it is successful, so we're going to say OK. And the set is now created. So at this point we're done with the Windows Configuration Manager. You'll notice as I close it though, we did the configuration set. So at this point it asks, do you want to save the changes to the answer file? Only component settings which have been explicitly set in the answer file will be saved. If you wanted to save this answer file, let's say you were going to just add more to this answer file for your next deployment image, you could certainly do that. I'm going to go ahead and say no, because that way I can just start it again and it'll close the window. So we're done with our answer file. We've grabbed the image that we want. Now we've got to create our Windows PE boot image disk and the files for it. So we're going to go into Start, All Programs, we're going to expand AIK, and as you remember, we need to go ahead and then right click on the Deployment Tools command prompt, and we want to run this as administrator. So we want to make sure that we are in administrator as we type these commands to create our Windows PE boot image. directory into Windows. System32, and we're going to grab the Sysprep. So I'm going to run that. There we are, we're in the Sysprep, and from here we're going to run Sysprep space /generalize space /OOBE. As you notice, Sysprep is working. It's processing, it's cleaning up the Sysprep plugins and everything, getting ready to prep the system. While it does this, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. As you can see now, it's processing the generalized phase of the Sysprep, so I'm pausing it between each section. So as you can see, it's done Sysprepping the system. It's going to shut down the system, at which point what we would do next, and this is where this video is going to stop, what we would do next on a normal hardware-based machine is we would take the Windows PE disk that we installed, we would insert it into the machine and restart the machine. At that point in the PE, we have the ability to create a map drive. We would map the Z drive as indicated in step 4 on page 33. We have the program in there, so we're going to go ahead and say, okay, access to the domain controller, RWDC01 downloads, requires a password, and that password, of course, we're going to do that with the Contoso administrator account, put in the password. Once we know that we've created that, we then are going to run from the Windows PE disk the image.exe capture command, and we're going to capture that image and put it out. We're going to capture the C drive essentially, or whatever the drive comes up as, and we're going to capture that and then copy that over to that network share that we created. So at that point, when the image capture process is completed, which of course is going to take some time, essentially what we're doing is copying everything that's on that Sysprep machine, that C drive, over to the network share. So that's going to take a little time. At that point, we're going to run a directory so that we can see all of the files that are there. You have a question there. What is the exact size of the image file you created in bytes? You can sort of guess what that might be by going back, if you wanted to, restarting the machine, and looking at the size of the C drive. Of course, it's going to do some compression. My suggestion at this point is we are done with the lab. We want to go back into the settings, and I'm going to bring those up for the client we just had. I'm going to move those over here. And we, of course, are going to come in here and discard the changes so we get that machine back. So basically, that's it for the lab. I'm going to cancel that, stop the lab, and you all have a great day.